just like when we were sanding, I'm not really going to worry about the mating faces. So, like, the end of this has a couple holes, so some sort of dowel. You know, I have not assembled one of these before, but I can intuitively know that that's a cross space. Here I got a drip on the piece, so let's see if we see that drip still after I coat it. Because we very well might. The color could be a little more intense there. I'm trying to be as thorough as possible. Um, Try not to miss spots. So no, I don't see that drip anymore. I guess nothing to worry about in that world. But none of my concern for this. I'm more concerned about conserving material. But I was thinking a lot about being conservative with materials and other things earlier, and I'm always encouraging myself to be liberal with whatever I'm using. So, um, you know, if my sandpaper loses its teeth, go get some more sandpaper. If my tack cloth is saturated with dust, it's time for another one. I say that, but then I still try and stretch things as far as I can. And I guess that's some sort of conservation. But you know, do it once right instead of halfway doing it a couple times. I want this thing to be golden like sunshine. I don't want to look back and see that it got thin here or there. I want it to live in, just soaking up the rays. You know, I want wherever it to be, wherever it is, to be a happy place. Why would I take the time to do all this? It is pretty satisfying though to see these lawn pines turn yellow. can see what easy work this Wiz applicator is making this whole process. This is one of my drawer fronts, so of course I want this extra good. At the time that I stained my cabinets, I did a bunch of tests to see what stains were the best and what color I liked, and I happened to find this on Etsy because the stains I was finding in the store just did not look right. You know, again, I was excited about the idea of staining the color, but rather than painting it. Some of the stains, like the Minwax brand colored stain, look like watered down paint, and I use those. I use some of that in these shutters I made down here in the basement. And they're cool, and you can sort of still get a feel for the wood grain, but this actually makes the wood grain pop, as a good stain should. So this was the winner again. Wizard. How was you a wizard? So anyhow, they had other colors. I just bought yellow because I was only doing yellow. But given how it looks, I would imagine their other colors are equally brilliant, and it would be great to see it, you know, see it in a red. Okay, so now I see on the first piece I did, some of the end grain is bleeding back into the face. And that's why I'm trying to do as much of the surfaces that are showing at once as possible, because I want to avoid those kinds of bleeds and so on. If maybe there's nothing I could do. Again, the end grain soaks up more than the rest, but so it, you know, it could have soaked up more like a sponge, and then slowly it's saturating in, and that's creating the unevenness. Or it could just be that those were surfaces that I sort of did after the initial staining, because I know I came back for a couple edges, and now that is apparent. So getting back into the territory of making mistakes, and you're always doing your best not to, and trying to hide them and whatever. But I think what's interesting in connection with that is that the way that one crept back up on me is also sort of like a commentary on time. You know. So yeah, there's the A side of all these pieces. I've got a few that won't fit on the table, but I'm gonna have to let these be for a minute.